So Ben Reilly, Peter Parker's spider clone, is currently, how do I say it, mentally not all there. From some meddling with Beyond and falling into and getting corrupted by some chemicals, he is currently not only missing a part of his memories, but also mutated into the now villain known as Chasm. And because of this, he hates Peter and wants revenge, as we will see it all unfold here now. Now my name is AJ, here at the Hero Informer, and let's get into it. So we initially pick up seeing the Queen Goblin. Now if you don't know who she is and have no knowledge about her, don't worry too much about her, just know that she is another Goblin themed villain who was corrupted by the sins of Norman Osborn and right now is working with Ben Reilly trying to help him get his memories back. But she goes on to say, "I'm sorry Spider-Man, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This room is for patients only." And if you didn't see the last part, Spider-Man is here with Betty Brant trying to find something called a Winkler device. And what is that? Well, it is a device made to alter minds. And so Betty's husband is Ned Leeds, who was framed for being the Hobgoblin because he was brainwashed using the Winkler device, and Spider-Man is trying to help her get the device for evidence to free him. But of course, Spider-Man says, "No, we're not leaving, we're taking the Winkler device with us." But who is crazy enough to be your patient? And of course, we find out it is none other than Chasm and his now partner, Hallows Eve. Well, why is she even here? Well, it's basically explained that the Queen Goblin is going to try to use a machine to try to restore Ben Reilly's memories and make him whole again, and not a crazy lunatic that he is now. But with this angering Betty, thinking that the Queen Goblin stole the machine from Roderick Kingsley, the person who brainwashed her husband, who is now in jail for going on a hobgoblin spree, the Queen Goblin then reveals that she's the one who brainwashed Kingsley and is indirectly responsible for her husband in prison. And with this, Betty Brant absolutely loses it, even going as far as to attack the woman. And do you know how absolutely angry and rageful you have to be to attack this 6 foot tall, almost demonic looking woman with flaming maces? And of course, Queen Goblin goes to defend herself, going on to say that she's going to give her an old fashioned lobotomy. But before anything is able to happen, Spider-Man webs her fist, slamming her aside. And Spider-Man, who right now is pretty ticked off and not wanting to fool around anymore, he exclaims that they are leaving with the Winkler device and he won't say it again. But with Ben Reilly agreeing with him saying, "Yeah, you could take it, just let me hop in there real quick, let me do my thing," before scooting past Spider-Man getting in the chair, absolutely baffling Spider-Man as he says, "Do you have any idea what this machine even does? Why would you even trust this Queen Goblin to do anything to you? She is going to try to turn you into a goblin yourself." But of course, Ben Reilly and his partner, Hallows Eve, were promised different results by the Queen Goblin herself. So she then tells Janice, or Hallows Eve, to distract them and give them some space. So she uses her powers, which she can put on mask, to turn her into other creatures, to turn her into what basically is a giant slasher villain, chasing Spider-Man and Janice off, as Queen Goblin gets little one-on-one time with Ben Reilly. And while Spider-Man and Betty Brant are being chased, Spider-Man gets grabbed and thrown, with Peter not really fighting back as he doesn't really want to hurt Janice, as he knows they are just being used by the Queen Goblin. With him even saying, "You have to stop this, Janice. Letting the Queen Goblin use the Winkler device on Ben is madness," which so far the only purpose that this machine has been used for is to make people insane and into a goblin persona, such as the Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, etc. And even the Queen Goblin to an extent. But with Janice, who is now this giant slasher villain, she says that the Queen Goblin told them that Spider-Man used the machine last and that there is still a piece of his mind in the machine. So if Ben Reilly gets on it, he will have his full mind back, including the now lost memories of Peter Parker, making him whole again. But of course, with Spider-Man disagreeing, saying that is not true, that has never happened, Janice just doesn't listen and is continuing to go rage mode. And with Janice even saying, "She told us you would say that. She told us not to believe you." Suddenly Betty Brant cuts in a conversation, saying, "Enough, if you won't listen to him, then you better listen to me. That machine destroyed my husband's life. That's what it does. It doesn't heal, it destroys. And if you even love Ben, you will help us out and get him out of there now." And with this, Janice, or Hallows Eve, actually listens to her, taking off the mask, saying, "Why do I believe you?" And of course, this is looking all good. She is surrendering almost, but Betty Brant still knocks her across the face, getting her down for the count for a second, allowing Spider-Man to hop back over to try and rescue Ben before irreversible damage has taken place. And while this little battle was going on, we then cut back over to Queen Goblin and Ben Reilly, as we see him fully trapped up to the chair, still pretty much excited at the idea of becoming whole again and not an insane lunatic that he is now. He says, "Really solid of you to help me out like this. I hope I can even repay you one day." But just then, it is revealed what is really going on. It is said when they both worked at the Beyond company, which is a whole other thing. Just know that Ben Reilly and Queen Goblin both worked at a company, and because of it, The Beyond Company scrambled Ben Reilly's mind, but Queen Goblin, before she was turned into what she is now, warned him of this. And because she broke protocol and warned Ben about this, she was punished and turned into what she is now. And now she can never live a normal life as a glowing red-skinned, giant, almost a demon beast of a woman. And why is this important, you may ask? Well, she wants revenge. You see, she wants to get even and use the machine to turn Ben Reilly into a goblin to make it fair and square. He ruined her life, and now she's going to ruin his. With her even going on to say, I was strapped into a machine much like this against my will, corrupted by the sins of Norman Osborn against my will, made into a goblin against my will, all because of you. With her finally lowering the headpiece of the machine, starting the process of permanently changing Ben Reilly forever, if it is to succeed. And as she activates it, Ben Reilly screams out in absolute pain as the machine starts to scramble and destroy his mind. But thankfully, before anything can go on further, suddenly her flaming mace comes out of nowhere, smashing the machine, and who was wielding it? None other than Spider-Man, coming back to try to save his former friend and clone Ben Reilly. And with the Queen Goblin obviously not thrilled about Spider-Man stopping her revenge plot, she then rushes towards him with 2 knives, ready to start their own battle. And Spider-Man, still confused about why she even doing this, asks her that, saying, what do you even want? She says, for someone else to feel my pain. And while this little battle is going on with them, we then see Janice, or Hallows' Eve, sneak back into the fold, ready to rescue Ben Reilly, giving him a mask, turning them into ghosts as they escape the battlefield. And where are they going? Well, we'll pick up with them a little later. As we cut back over to the fight, we initially see Queen Goblin getting the upper hand on Spider-Man as Spider-Man is on the floor on his knees. But she then begins to talk, saying, you had no right to get into my way. Someone has to pay for what was done to me. With Spider-Man going back saying, how many someones will there be? Norman Osborn, Ben Reilly, and don't think I have forgotten what you did to me during that business with Kraven, which, if you don't know what he's talking about, it was a time when Spider-Man himself got infected with the sins of Norman Osborn, turning him evil for a little bit, altering his judgment. And if you want to see that, well, I'll leave a link in the description on the video I covered on it. But Spider-Man then goes on to say, lucky for you, I don't believe in revenge, so no matter what this looks like, it's strictly personal. As he picks the mace back up, swinging it, hitting her in the face, and ending this short battle, as Queen Goblin succumbs to the hit and passes out. And as Betty Brant finally comes back asking if Spider-Man is okay, he says, yeah, we're gonna call the police and have our evidence, but where is Ben Reilly and Janice? But of course, we saw them escape and flee the scene, as we then pick up across town with them on a random rooftop talking. As again, this has become another failed scheme to get Ben Reilly's memories back, as they are in a cycle, with Janice, or Hallows' Eve, saying, in the end, nothing has changed and we are chasing the past, and I want a future. With Ben replying saying, those memories, they were mine and Peter's formative years, all the lessons and principles he has learned and instilled to make him who the hero and man he is today. The way I act without them, what if that's who I am? What if I am just bad? With Janice even saying, good or bad, I just want to be us. With them basically making up their mind to put this whole scheme of trying to restore his memories behind and focus on figuring out who Ben Reilly is now. And as they are in each other's embrace, Ben Reilly then says, oh, and by the way, that machine showed me some terrible things. Spider-Man is in a lot of trouble, as in the brief seconds that he was under the machine's effects, he has somehow gained visions of what is to be and what is going on with Spider-Man, which it is left vague, as we will pick up and see what's happening very soon. And while that plot ends, we are not just done yet, as we pick up elsewhere, seeing that the Sinister Six, led by Dr. Octopus this time, is forming back together. Why? Because they need to take down Norman Osborn and the Living Brain, who is now at Oscorp. And if you don't know who the Living Brain is, well, you're not missing too much, as he is really just an old, obscure Spider-Man villain who we will see in the coming issues. But of course, for now, this story and video comes to an end. Like the video if you enjoyed, or even subscribe if you're new and want to see more. And as always, thank you for watching.